Hello, everybody. All right, it is Wednesday. It is October 1st. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, so October is all about blood sugar balance because, this kicks off sugar season. Some people say cold and flu season, but lots of studies suggest that it's the sugar that starts in the fall with Halloween. You got Halloween that rolls into Thanksgiving, that rolls into Christmas. So a lot of studies show it's the impact of sugar that decreases your immunity and it just beats down your gut. Remember, 80 to 90% of your immunity is made in your gut. So if we're constantly pounding on the immunity and literally the lining of what is supposed to build that and produce the immunity, it wears down and we get sick, right? Okay, so we're going to talk blood sugar balancing, how we're going to do that. Now, I know I don't know if you really think about blood sugar balancing a whole lot, unless you're diabetic or unless you're pre-diabetic or worried about getting diabetes. So it's, we all deal with it. We all have to be concerned about blood sugar balance, which is why I constantly preach don't eat unopposed carbohydrates because that spikes the blood sugar. The protein is like the slow burn on the fire. The quick carbohydrates, that's the newspaper that you throw on the fire. Goes up in a flame really quick, really hot, and dies really fast. That's your 3 p.m. afternoon crash, okay? So we can avoid those spikes by going protein forward. So protein, healthy fats, then the carbohydrates. Or, a cheese stick with an apple. I am a fan of the lower glycemic fruits, depending, okay? And again, there's never a straight answer. It's kind of annoying, but it's never a straight answer, okay? Bananas, a green banana is much better, has a lower glycemic index than a more ripe banana. Also, a green banana has resistant starch that is so good for your gut. So, different things. If you're one of those people who like green bananas, good for you. Berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, fantastic for your gut, highly anti-inflammatory. A good glycemic impact. So have those with your Greek yogurt. Throw a scoop of vanilla protein powder in that Greek yogurt. It gives it a little sweetness. It gives it a little more flavor. And throw the berries. Amazing. And that gets you up to 15 with the yogurt. Throw on some hemp hearts. That's another 10. So 25, that's 50 grams of protein in a yogurt bowl. Fantastic. Okay, so those are things that you can do to keep that blood sugar stable. Think protein, protein, protein. Go for a walk after a meal. If you work in an office behind a desk, get up, do a lap. I don't care if it's around your office. Take the steps to go somewhere. If you take a quick 5 to 10 minute walk after you eat, especially any meal, but especially a higher carbohydrate meal, your muscle cells are going to open up and the glucose is going to go in the muscles rather than circulate around and go into your liver, okay? Keeping that blood sugar nice and stable is going to give you less crashes throughout the day, and long term, it's going to calm the insulin blood sugar roller coaster, which helps calm cortisol. And then that in turn is going to help you sleep better, okay? Now, also keeping in mind, sugar and spikes, blood sugar spikes especially, trigger inflammation and oxidative stress, okay? Oxidative stress and inflammation are the root cause of that fatigue, the joint pain, and oxidative stress causes premature aging. Oxidative stress in your body is equal to rust on a car, okay? Barnacles on a boat. So all of those crashes, let's use the car analogy. Literally, if your body, hi Renee, if you're in a car and you keep having fender benders, even if it's a little bump, you bump into a guardrail, you bump into a curb, all those little bumps are going to add up to body damage. That's oxidative stress on your body. Those insulin spikes, drops, that's the little bump. That's, oops, I hit the guardrail. Oops, I hit the door. Oops, I hit the, corner of whatever, the parking post. They all add up on your body, weighing it down. And as we get older, it's one of those things. And I always, wonder, it's not necessarily that we're aging, it's that our bodies are getting overworked. So when we talk about detoxing your liver or liver congestion or anything like that, I use the analogy of a drop in the bucket a lot because, a couple drops in the bucket, big deal. But you keep putting those drops in the bucket and the bucket's going to overflow. Same with the car analogy. Those little bumps add up, and before you know it, your fender's falling off because you really did some damage. So we want to keep those assaults on our body, those huge spikes that cause the inflammation and the oxidative stress. We really, really want to kind of keep the high spikes to a minimum and do our best to keep a nice steady wave, okay? So those crashes are what makes your body crave the sugar, the caffeine, and the processed carbohydrates. Because that's what happens when your body feels it needs that quick energy boost. It craves carbohydrates because that is the quickest fuel that our body knows. And we know it, right? So over time, these constant spikes, and I'm talking, the highs and lows, and ask me how I know, right? The old me, by 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'd sit down, have a cup of coffee, and I didn't like to really eat a whole lot during the day, and I thought I was doing a good job. But I'd sit down, I was exhausted, I'd have my coffee and my cookies in the afternoon, and that was a little pick-me-up. It was great. That is probably what caused, I know that's what caused my constant pain when, the joint pain. And it's not getting older. If we know what to do and how to take care of our bodies and what not to put into it, we know what we're doing, right? So these high spikes of the unopposed carbohydrates are what eventually causes us to become insulin resistant. Insulin resistance, and again, when your fasting insulin level is a 6, normal fasting insulin can go up to 25. And again, no one in traditional medicine is getting a fasting insulin level. I have my root cause panel. If anybody wants it, send me a message because it's really comprehensive. When fasting insulin starts to get up to 6, you have signs of insulin resistance, meaning inflammation, joint pain, brain fog. I can't lose weight. I'm doing everything right and I can't lose weight. We need to get that insulin down. The more insulin that your pancreas is putting out, the harder it's working. So let's go back to the car analogy, and we kind of want to take care of things. So take care of our organs, right? Take care of our pancreas. Quit stressing it out and assaulting it with highly processed foods, simple carbohydrates, sugar, and caffeine. And the caffeine is the tricky one because it's not necessarily bad for you, but it will spike the cortisol, which then messes with your insulin blood sugar regulation. So my favorite way to drink coffee, throw some collagen in it, throw some medium chain triglycerides, MCT oil, or organic coconut oil, or grass-fed butter. Because what that does is it cushions that caffeine effect that you're going to get. So instead of jacking up your cortisol, your gut's kind of busy processing the collagen peptides and the fat, and those healthy ketones, which is fat, feed your brain. So when I started doing this in my afternoon coffee, without my cookies, when I gave, up my high sugar cookies, now I have a healthy muffin, which is delicious, by the way. They're the ones I made last Friday. I don't know if you made those yet, Renee, but they're yummy. So any suggestions for what I'm making this week, please throw them in the comments. But your gut is working on processing the collagen peptides and the ketones, which quickly get absorbed by your brain. I felt more of an energy boost from the ketones and the collagen peptides than I did my sugar and the caffeine. So crazy powerful. But the collagen and the healthy ketones, the healthy fat, lower the effect that the caffeine has on your gut. So it eases that cortisol, just like having protein and healthy fat with a carbohydrate calms down that insulin spike. So we just want to calm things down. Oh, I'm so glad you made them. Good. I'll have to come up with something else this week. Okay, so again, number one things, labs that you want to check your insulin resistance. Of course, fasting insulin, you want it less than 6. A1C is also a great indicator. However, it's tricky because it's not the best indicator of insulin resistance, because there is an insulin resistance that your insulin can be way high. Hey, see, your insulin can be way high, but your blood sugar is actually normal and your A1C is normal. And in my opinion, this is the most dangerous. Absolutely, see. But that is the most dangerous combination, because when your insulin is so high, you're still insulin resistant, but no one's catching it because your blood sugar is normal and your A1C is normal. But this means that your pancreas is working so hard, pumping out the insulin, and you need more insulin to lower that blood sugar. So it's going to burn out quickly. This is why I say, if you know what you're looking for, you see this stuff coming years before it actually affects you in a horrible way. So we want to catch the little bits. We want to catch it when you're having that brain fog and you're having the difficult time losing weight. That's when it's easier to reverse. All right, I think I covered a whole lot of stuff. So collagen, healthy fat in your coffee, no unopposed carbohydrates. Renee, I use I forget, it's in the blue container. There are lots of different peptides or collagen out there. And the thing with collagen is not many have a bunch of fillers. That's the difference between collagen and regular protein powder. Because collagen is not flavored, there's no stabilizers in it, so it's usually just beef collagen. Keep in mind that collagen is not a complete protein. So it doesn't technically count if you're trying to get 100 grams of protein plus a day, It's fantastic and it's an added bonus, but still you don't want to count it because it's not a complete protein. Renee, I will text you the picture of the one I use, and it's easy. You find it's everywhere. I think Costco, Target, and it's a good one. All right, go for a walk. Yeah, thank you, CJ. Exactly, that's it. Vital proteins. So go for a walk, mindfulness, deep breathing, anything. Go for a walk in nature. It is beautiful, a beautiful fall we're having in Ohio. Go for a walk, get in nature. That will calm down your cortisol. Your cortisol being calm helps calm down the insulin and blood sugar spike. So everything is connected. Thanks, guys. Join me in the kitchen on Friday. Not sure what we're going to make yet. Give me some suggestions. Have a good one.